Come into the quiet, come in from the storm to a place where time stands still. The Spirit is reborn. Come into the quiet, take your place among the stars. Come into this place, come as you are.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you here and saying a special good morning to those who are joining us via our live stream. So, I did something last Sunday that I've never done before. I know Jeff said I was out of town, but I really wasn't. I was home. It was one of those rare Sundays where I didn't have anything planned. So, I watched from home the whole thing on my big screen TV. We're working on trying to do the highest quality we can for those who are listening, especially around the music. On the live stream, we had an AV guy here, so I just wanted to see what that experience was like, and I was just going to listen and watch and sing with the music and then go on, but then it was like, oh, well, let me just stay and see, and I ended up staying all the way till the very end, because then I had to see my grandchildren at the end, and so it was a lovely experience. I did notice that, we got to do some things with our little tiles back here. Like, when you're sitting from home in a big screen, you start to notice. It's like, we need to clean that stage up a little bit. But otherwise, it was a great experience. It was good to be with you without necessarily having to come in and be physically present. And I'm grateful for Gigi doing the meditation and Jeff. I thought his talk was really good to really think about changing versus that kind of feeling that repent has to it. Repent sounds really bad. It doesn't sound like it's going to be fun, but changing can be a good thing. And to all the Mary and all the rest who created a wonderful service experience for those who were watching and being a part of it here in the sanctuary. Glad to be here today. Thanks to Jessica for stepping in when Jeff is away this morning, and for Byron being here today, and and the others who show up every single Sunday. And Ziggy too. Yes, we're grateful for you all. Our mascot, our Sunday mascot, and he's in his formal tie, so he's ready to go for church. Anyway, we're glad you're here, and we are gonna sing another song.
Hide me Our daily word for today is prosperity. Doesn't that feel good? Prosperity. And our affirmation is, I live an abundant life. In fact, why don't we all say that? I live an abundant life. This is my friend Mary, and I'm Lynn, and we will be available for prayer at the prayer room at the end of the service. You might want to pray for a blessing that you want to express gratitude for, or perhaps you might want to pray for a concern, but we would be happy to pray with you.
It often has been said you can't take it with you. While it is true that money and material possessions must be left behind when I transition from this life, these things are not the source of my prosperity. My true wealth lies in my consciousness, my ability to give and receive love, to share what I have and receive from others with equal joy, to understand and use the creative power of thought, and to know myself and all people as living expressions of the divine. I live consciously and abundantly, making wise use of the earth's resources and drawing upon the limitless storehouse of divine ideas. Through the power of God within me, I enrich my life physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
And our Bible text is, but store for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. And that's Matthew 6:20.
As we have our healing prayer, we remember that there is indeed power in our collective, power when we all focus our attention to one aspect of life. And in this moment, we seek to focus our attention to send our love, the love that heals and changes and uplifts, to those who we hold in our prayer ministry, to those that we hold in our own minds and hearts. Seeing that wisdom and compassion shine a light into each person's own understanding and guides next steps. Uplifting them into the awareness that in the midst of these challenges, there is the rain of heaven. There is the rain of love that we can each rest in those moments where we need to garner our strength or deepen our faith. For the way it unfolds, we simply say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
It always seems there's too much space between where I am and where I'd like to be. And yet, when I stop to look around at the good things I have found, I can't help but see here and now I have all that I need. Here and now, this is where I'm meant to be. And somehow, tomorrow, come what may, I will be okay as I learn to love here and now. I'm always running half a step behind the image of my life that's in my mind. And yet, when I let myself slow down, all the beauty all around, and I'm reminded once again, here and now I have all that I and now, here and now, here and now.
Thank you. So today we're starting a new series on spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence, at least as it's defined by Cindy Wigglesworth in her book SQ21, is this. It is our ability to behave with wisdom and compassion while maintaining inner peace regardless of the situation. Think about that for a minute. It's our ability to behave with wisdom and compassion from this place of inner peace, regardless of what might be swirling around. I need a little more intelligence in that area. I don't know about you. And it sounds like, at least to me, the perfect summary of the Sermon on the Mount. To behave, to live, to express with wisdom and compassion while maintaining inner peace. But before we delve into how we spiritually evolve, what that looks like, what the practices are, how we can use this to become greater expressions of what we would call our inner Christ, I want to just lay a foundation of how this fits within all of our intelligences, because we're waking up that we do have multiple intelligence. It's not just this brain that's up here. There are intelligences that we can tap into that give us a greater capacity to live into this ideal. The first is physical intelligence. This one's been around for a long time. She defines it as body awareness and skillful use. We've been evolving this over 250,000 years or so. Certainly at first, our primary focus with physical intelligence is how we stay safe and how we survive. How do we get enough food and water and care that we need to keep this physical organism alive? Now it's really shifted. Our physical intelligence is all about longevity and health and how we can create that in ourselves. And it's really monitored and run by what we call our reptilian brain, the earliest brain that we have that really gave us the intelligence to be able to survive the many challenges that we as humankind have faced. Then we've got IQ, intellectual quotient as they call it, the measuring tool of our brain, our intellect's ability. It's really measured by how well we are able to reason and to memorize and to process information, to solve puzzles. And this brain intelligence has been evolving now, we're estimating anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 years, where we've really developed this prefrontal cortex that gives us this increased brain capacity in which to engage in life. And it has certainly taken us and changed our world in huge and dynamic ways the more we have been able to develop and increase and evolve our intelligence. Emotional intelligence, we talked about that a few months ago, is pretty new. It relates to our interpersonal skills. It is a measurement of how emotionally we are aware as we go through our daily lives. It is our capacity for empathy, for emotional self-management. And it really rose out of psychology. It's been around about 100 years. Emotional intelligence, this idea of it, framing it in that way, maybe only about 30 years. And in the awarenesses that we have of the brain, I would call this the heart brain. We've kind of had this inkling that there is information, a capacity that the heart gives us that we can't get from the other intelligences. And finally, this new way of thinking about, of engaging with this human spiritual journey is spiritual intelligence. And again, it's that ability to behave with wisdom and compassion while maintaining inner peace. It's only been around for a couple of decades. It's in its very early evolutionary stages. And it is what I would call located in, we've called it the intuitive brain, the gut brain. I love in Paul Smith's Integral Christianity, he calls it the spiritual womb. But it's located typically in that part of your belly where you just know something, but you don't know how you know it. And it requires a sufficient level, not an expertise, not a mastering of, but a basic level of development at these lower. You notice it's kind of a pyramid. We've got foundational pieces on there. So we have to have some level of physical and intellectual capacities before we can even begin to think about emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence. It'd be difficult, I think, to focus on. If somebody came in and they were living on the street and we were talking about, upping their spiritual intelligence or emotional intelligence, when they're just worried about where they're going to sleep tonight or how they're going to feed their bodies. When you're in that mode, that's the mode that you have to be focused on, because until that's sort of taken care of, it's difficult. It would be difficult for somebody who didn't have the ability to learn how to read and write and deal with money, to navigate in our world. In both those instances, you're still sort of in that reptilian survival mode. So you can't really get there until you have some basic mastery, at least at a survival, easily survivable level, before you can move on. And I imagine that that's really not the audience I'm talking to. So we're going to focus a little bit on these and see how we can begin to understand and then put them into practice in our lives so that we can continue to evolve and be able to manage, because I think we need all these brains as the world gets more and more complex, as what we have to grapple with and make decisions around becomes difficult in this global, instantaneous, AI, don't even know, I'm at the point where I don't even know what to trust anymore, because we have created, through our abilities, the capacity to put whatever we want out there and not know what its sources are or whether it's factual. We looked at emotional intelligence. I'm really not going to spend much time on it except for a quick review. And you can go back and watch if you missed those parts in June. It's good to at least begin to be aware and then start taking a look at where am I? How well am I able to be conscious of and even self-manage my own emotions, and to be conscious of and understand emotions as they show up in the larger population and engage with those. In that model, there was 18 skills of emotional intelligence. I think Nick's going to put up a chart for me. And they focused on both the inner and the outer, and the individual and the collective. You can go out and find, oh wait, that's the wrong one. I don't know why. That's spiritual intelligence. Well, we've looked at them. Oh, there you go. There's emotional intelligence. So it's about our own self-awareness. It's about our awareness of others. It's about our own self-management. And then how are we able to put that into relationship with other people? It is about adaptability. It is about our ability to show up authentically. And it gives us the capacity for empathy. It opens the door for greater collaboration, and it becomes a change catalyst in and of itself. And we need some basic EQ, as you're going to see, before we can really be focused on our spiritual intelligence. And many of you have been at this a long time and will see some of these things as similar and things that you've worked on over time. So the author of the 21 Skills of Spiritual Intelligence, her name is Cindy Wigglesworth. She is a Unity Truth student. She attended, and I think still attends, the Unity Church in Houston for decades, and has been, like many of us, to many workshops, followed many different spiritual leaders and ideas, and engaged. And after decades of really being in this spiritual quest of understanding, of meditation, of positive psychology, even this emotional intelligence, she was, very familiar with that. She figured there has to be some quantitative way similar to emotional intelligence that we can apply at the spiritual level. She goes on to say, though, it's difficult and it takes some awareness to even understand how would we measure intelligence. When we're looking at IQ, they have different math skills and different processing and reasoning skills that they can do it. But how do we do that? That was her big question. And what are the skills that would demonstrate that you have a greater capacity of spiritual intelligence? I'm not going to get into her whole methodology. She hired many people. They tried to do this as scientifically and with the rigors that other studies are being done. So she talks about that a little bit in her book, and you can go out and read more about that. But she makes very clear that this is not really about measuring spirit. It's not trying to measure how much spirit there is in one, or even define what that is, because as many of us have discovered, and the saints and the sages and the mystics said, that is undefinable. There aren't the right words, there aren't the right symbols, there aren't the right examples that can really do justice other than just our own experience of it. But then trying to explain it falls short of what that would look like. So she came up with these 21 skills that we can develop, skills that we can practice, and that support us in filling our need to be connected to something larger, to understand and then demonstrate the divinity, the oneness, the unity that is already present in our world despite all appearances, and to be in that quest for something divine or noble. I imagine most of you are sitting here because there's a calling. I want to know more. I want to experience more. I want to continue to grow and be the best human being having this, or spiritual being having this human experience. So she used the models in many respects of emotional intelligence, but then switched it up. So Nick, can you put that one up, the spiritual intelligent one? Because in this, again, we have our 4 quadrants, and I kind of like the way she puts this. The top left is what you see, your inner world, your perceptions, beliefs, and awarenesses. And then the universal awareness is how you see the world, what your worldview is. And then the bottom is how others see you. If you were asking people to describe you, would they see you in the same way that you see yourself? And then how that outpictures out into the greater social and engagement with the world. So we're going to be looking at these over the next several weeks. And one I wanted to focus on today, one of the skills that she says are necessary, especially for our own self-awareness, but then even if we want to use that awareness out for good in the way we engage in the world, is the ability to distinguish between our ego voice, for lack of a better word, and the voice of our higher self. How many of you ever experienced that we've probably got many voices going on in that head, but at least those two, that we have this ego that's telling us how we should move through and react to something, and then we have The voice of wisdom and reason, sometimes it shows up for me. And they can sometimes be having a conversation. I don't know if you ever had that, but when you're trying to make a decision, you got a couple of different trains of thought going on in there. And just to be able to, usually the higher voice is much quieter. You have to listen a little bit more intently to hear that voice. Ego is not necessarily bad. I mean, I think some people, that kind of became the trend for, well, we want to kill our ego. We want to, get rid of the ego so that this higher self can have more dominion over our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs and the way we show up. But it's really there and does a necessary service for us. The challenge is, how can we move that ego part that is normally driving the car over into the passenger seat and just let it be a navigator so that the higher self is determining the journey, not the ego self. And it's not easy to do, but that's part of this call to evolve into more spiritually intelligent beings. And it begins with practicing and connecting with this inner higher self. So that's what we're going to do here in the next few moments as we move into our time of meditation, of quietness, of turning our attention inward, is to see if we can't clearly recognize, hear, and appreciate the voice of the higher self as well as the voice of the ego, and get them to be moving in the same direction. So I would invite you now, just wherever you're at, to sort of get comfortable. Sometimes it helps if you close your eyes, but you can certainly just focus on some point in the room, soften your gaze. As you begin to bring your attention and your awareness inward. Moving your attention to your breath as it naturally and easily flows in and out of your body. Just notice how it feels, the sensations of that air moving in through your nostrils and then out again. Notice and become aware of your body and how it feels in this moment. And if there's any tension anywhere, as you take that next breath in and let it go, just letting go. Seeing that stress just exit out of your body. And I invite you in this time of quiet connection and awareness to bring into your mind's eye something that you're looking for greater clarity around or seeking to make a decision about. Just bring it in and let all of the thoughts, not trying to control them, just whatever thoughts come with that, let them just move around. And that part of our being there where our brain is, that part in our head where we tend to process everything, just let them float and move. And imagining that your head has a fishbowl around it containing all of these thoughts. And at the very bottom there is a flap, and as that flap opens and drops down, all of those thoughts begin to move, to swim through every part of your body. Let them go wherever they choose to go, and notice where and how they might be showing up in your physical being. As they move and swim through the center of your chest, notice those thoughts being infused with that heart intelligence. And then imagine that all those thoughts are gently, gently sinking down until they come to rest at the bottom of your pelvic. The spiritual womb. And in this place, they grow quiet. They rest, they are at peace. And now these thoughts begin to rise up out of there, but now instead of swimming wherever they choose, they are a school. Like a school of fish, they now in concert move in and throughout your body as one, synchronized, energized, joy-filled. And as they are moving through your entire being and all of your intelligences, just sit and listen and see what the higher voice has to share about that situation that you initially brought into your mind and heart, or just see the wisdom that it's offering in this moment as you listen for a few moments in the silence. And as you slowly begin to bring your attention back to this time and space, you let this unified thought process continue to move in and through your body and your mind, your heart, your intuitive intelligence. And even if nothing arises in this moment, you trust that it will show up in the right moment, in the right time, and in the right place. Aware now again of the body as it's supported by the chair that you're sitting in, wiggling your toes and fingers, bringing all of your attention back to this time and place. With another deep breath, and then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right, take another deep breath with me now, because I'm going to shift gears on you just a little bit. You know, right now, there is an active, and I would say sometimes contentious discussion happening between ministers and other leaders in our movement about whether unity identifies as Christian or spiritual. Those are kind of the two running things. And it seems that much like everything else that's arising, at least in our country, we got about a 50-50 split. Some people say, absolutely, we are Christian, that's how I identify, and this is our Christian roots, and we need to stay with them. And there are many others that say, I really like spiritual, because Christian comes with certain understandings depending on how you talk to them, and we don't fit into that traditional mold, anyway, of Christianity. Imagine if we took a poll right now, and I'm not going to, because I don't like to see 50-50. I like to see oneness. But I imagine that we've got people sitting in here, some that lean sort of in that more traditional role of unity, because certainly that's where our roots are, and there are some that, feel and get to experience this from a very spiritual perspective. Love the teachings of Jesus, but really identify as more spiritual. And I imagine, I have an active imagination, that there may be some of you asking, why are we talking about emotional and spiritual intelligence instead of focusing on Jesus's and unity's teachings, those core teachings? This question has certainly come up more than once for me over the decades because I tend to like a wide variety. I have a robust diet in my spiritual journey, and I tend to share that. And I've had that question asked me, why are we doing this? I thought we were here to really focus on, these teachings that are the core part of unity. And as I've pondered that question, it occurred to me, I imagined if Jesus were to show up on the earth today to share this message, which I think is an eternal message, would he use the same language, the same examples, the same ideas as he did to the audience that he was speaking to a couple thousand years ago? I don't think that he would be saying the kingdom of heaven is like, and then talking about, maybe to the farmers, maybe when he was speaking to the farmers, he'd talk about planting seeds. But when he's talking about to the business people, he'd be talking about some other new business integral way that we can collaborate and be unified and be as one. I imagine that he might say something like, the kingdom of heaven is like shifting the ego into the navigation seat and allowing the higher self to drive the car. I imagine that he would say, the kingdom of heaven is like living from a place of wisdom and compassion, from inner peace, regardless of the circumstances. In fact, that is exactly what he demonstrated to us, that ability to be in that place of compassion for everyone, to act from the wisest course while maintaining that place of inner peace. I don't think it's either or, I think it's both and. And while you're here, you're probably going to get both. Jesus' Beatitudes were an invitation to those listening to examine their values and suggest to them the values that would bring about the kingdom of heaven. Humility, compassion, perseverance, peace, service, generosity, kindness, trust. And spiritual intelligence invites us to do the very same. That's one of the self-awareness pieces that are part of this process in which we can develop greater and greater intelligence, is to gain clarity about what we value and compare that to how others view us as our values, and to do our best to make them in sync. We're really good at saying, this is what I value, but we're not always following it up and demonstrating it by what we say and what we do and how we act, and how we can get them to show up in greater and greater ways. Places where we might even be called to shift our values and then step into the journey of how we live into them. So your invitation for this week is to pay attention as much as you can to this inner world and to see if you can recognize that higher self when it's speaking, and then listen to it. It's one thing to just recognize it. It's another thing to actually go, let me find the value of what this higher self is trying to share with me. If you want to go a little deeper on this, we don't have any books. Amazon is out, except you can get the Kindle version. But she has a website called deepchange.com. And you can order a book from there. She does assessments. She has coaches, all sorts of stuff. So you can go and check that out if you're interested in wanting for your own spiritual growth to go into this a little deeper. The bottom line is this: the more practiced that we become, the more we will see and experience life that Jesus called the kingdom of heaven, which is really about seeing life through the eyes of God, through the eyes of love.
Look at the sky, tell me what do you see? Just close your eyes and describe it to me. The heavens are sparkling with starlight tonight. That's what I see through your eyes. I see the heavens each time that you smile. I hear your heartbeat just go on for miles, and suddenly I know my life is worthwhile. That's what I see through your eyes. Here in the night, I see the sun. Here in the dark, our two hearts are one. It's out of our hands, we can't stop what we have begun. And love just took me by surprise, looking through your eyes. I look at myself and instead I see us. Wherever I am, now it feels like enough. And I see a girl who is learning to trust. That's who I see through your eyes. Here in the night, I see the sun. Here in the dark, our two hearts are one. It's out of our hands, we can't stop what we have begun. And love just took me by surprise, looking through your eyes. And there are some things we don't know. Sometimes the heart just needs to go. And there is so much I remember underneath the golden sky, with you forever. Here in the night, I see the sun. Here in the dark, our two hearts are one. It's out of our hands, we can't stop what we have begun. And love just took me by surprise, looking through your eyes. Looking through your eyes.
I think Mary jinxed me. She said, do you ever tear up when your daughter sings? You know, does it just, I'm like, no. And here today, I'm like, oh. Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with our ministry. We are so grateful for the many channels in which we receive our good. And I wanted to spend just a moment to give you an update. I know Mary mentioned we usually do it on the first Sunday, but I wasn't here, about an extra opportunity to donate to help reduce our loan payment. And I just wanted to give you some stats about that right now, because right now we are about at 79,000 is what our line of credit is up to, based on having to replace multiple air conditioners and this excess insurance that we're having to pay through the high-risk market because of the claim we had a few years ago. I'm hoping, praying that maybe next year that will fall off of our record and we'll be able to get to a more reasonable level, but that's where we're at right now. And the board has agreed to put at least $1,500 towards that each month, more if we have it in the general fund, and then whatever else comes in. And right now that's usually about $300 to $400 of people giving a little extra donation to help reduce the loan. And so I wanted this morning to ask you to consider doing an additional contribution. If we have, and we typically have, I think, about 80 people active in our ministry, but if 60 people could do an extra $10 a month, that's an extra $7,200 a year that the loan gets reduced. If some can stretch it to $20 a month, that's $20 a month is not $15,000 a year that the loan gets reduced. So I just ask you to consider that, and if you can do that, to do it automatically and to make sure you designate it that is for the reduction of the loan or loan payment or something other than general fund. And I recognize that not everybody can do that. They're either on a limited budget or right now they don't have it in their budget to share any extra. So here's something that you can do that I'd like you to consider. So we have our birthday banquet coming up. It's October the 19th. And we got lots of fun things planned. Your team has been working hard on that. It's going to be more open. It's going to have less activities. We will have a shortened live auction as well as a silent auction this year. So something that won't cost you anything is to go and ask those people and services that you frequent or other people that you're willing to reach out to and ask if they would be willing to donate something towards our live and silent auction. And for those of you who can, buy a ticket. We've actually increased the ticket $5 more this year per person, and that $5 is again there to reduce the loan payments. And everything that, any profit that comes in is all going to reduce. That's our big focus. It's our last big fundraiser of the year. And plan to do your Christmas shopping when you show up, because you know the more we raise through these live and silent auctions, it goes towards reducing the loan payment. So know that however you can support us, we are so grateful. We continue to open ourselves up to known and unknown channels. Sometimes money just shows up out of the blue. So we hold that open as a possibility. One of these days the IRS is going to get around to giving us our retained earned credit or whatever it is that the government was offering as part of COVID, and that's a significant amount, but you know, it's been close to a year. One of these days, you can hold that prayer too, that they're gonna actually process it and send us the money. But we bless all that comes in. We bless, and we know there's always enough. We live in an abundant universe, and there is enough. We live in that space and bless it. So join with me as we hold in our hands, or in the energy of the hands that we clasp together and in our hearts, and bless all that comes in and moves through this ministry. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love, and a place could be much brighter than tomorrow.
It's been a while. You doing okay?
And
Good.
if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you cared enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you cared enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is here, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel fear or dread. We stop exciting and start living. Then it feels that always love enough for the growing. So make a little space, make a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you cared enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me.
Hey, this is Lori. I'm on the board of directors, and we would like to welcome everybody. And if you're watching us for the first time, we're glad that you have chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website and fill out the Connect card. And if you're watching locally, we invite you to visit in person. If you're visiting us in person for the first time, please complete a visitor card found in the pew pocket in front of you and drop it in at the box at the back of the sanctuary on your way out. Now for our appreciation. Last week we had a tasty first Sunday lunch, which we've been doing for quite a while now, and each time Jessica and Eric Lantis ensure that we have yummy food that fits in with most diets. From animal-based to plant-based, starchy to gluten-free, there's usually something for everyone, and it is always delicious. The food prepared by this basic First Sunday team is often augmented with dishes prepared by other cooks who also bring mouth-watering food to be shared with the community. And we're so grateful to Jessica and Eric and the other contributing chefs for keeping this time of fellowship going. And so we say, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
All right, is it time to bring in the kids then? Let's sing them in here. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's sing it again. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, good morning, everybody. Well, we had a lot of fun outside today, and I have a couple kiddos who want to share what they did.
Today we made an earth. Today we learned about, I don't know.
We made these bouncy balls.
Cool.
All right. Okay, anyone else? All right, so the science experiment was making a bouncy ball, which didn't work, but what happens when an experiment doesn't work, guys? It's a failure. No. They had the right answer earlier.
And we're done.
You learn from it, right? So they learned from it, and then they did some splash games outside, and today was still continuing about mindfulness. And we have 2 more Sundays of Super Science Summer, and then we'll be back to our regular Unity curriculum for the kiddos.
Thank you, Debbie. All right. We
All
invite-
right, let's
yeah.
stand and
Let's
join
stand,
hands
join
and
some
hearts
hands.
as we sing our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. With God
into this week seeking to be wise and compassionate as we find our inner peace. We go knowing our prayer for protection. We'll do it as a call and response. Together, or no, first me. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right, good to see you guys.